Hey everyone, I'm the Dragonsbeard and I'm back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today I want to show you the Spider Nuke team that I've put together that can clear Spider 20 in under 15 seconds. And because this isn't really any new content, the Nuke teams have existed for a long time. The specific thing I want to achieve in this video is to show the struggles that went into putting this together. I have a lot of different pieces and different champions that I can use to make it happen, but with the AIs working differently based off of how many spiders are on the board and what debuffs are active and everything like that, it can change how the different champs are going to react. And I feel like it could be useful for any of you when you're trying to put together your own nuke teams to see what happens based off of the turn meter of the big spider, or 2 spiderlings on the board, or 4. So that's ultimately what I'm going to be showing you today. I've got 3 different teams that I can use to clear it. One of them uses Lydia, which runs at about a 96% success rate as long as there's no resistances or resists on the debuffs, and the other ones use Ghostborn for 100% success rate. And I'm using either Royal Guard or Coldheart as my nukers. I don't have Septimus. I would really love him. I also don't have a Kymar, so I'm not using any type of reset strategies. It's just going to be a buff, debuff, nuke, nuke, nuke strategy. So when I first decided I was going to put this together, I kind of went with what I thought was a cookie cutter build. I took my decreased defense and weakened champion, which I was using Lydia with her A2, and then I was using Gurptuk to do the poisons and boost the rest of the team's damage with his passive for 22.5% extra damage, and then I took a Royal Guard and I built a third one. So I had the second one sitting in my vault. I didn't have any masteries on him. I didn't have him booked. I just went ahead and finished that one off, and then I built number 3 to bring in for the takedown. And I did the same masteries just about on everybody. Stoked to Fury for the 12% on top of what Gurptuk gives, and then Flawless Execution because I want this to be very, very consistent. Even though Helm Smasher would do more damage, I wanted to take the RNG element out of it. So I thought I had everything I needed. I went in here and I want to show you kind of an example of what I was running into. We'll see if this works the first time, because it didn't consistently work when I first set it up. So this is the team I planned on running. One of the Royal Guards in the lead just for the aura, and then letting it go. So my goal was 15 seconds or less, and full auto 100%, or as close to 100% as I can get, with no resistance. So takedown 1, takedown 2, and takedown 3. So this is exactly what I wanted to see happen. 16 seconds, kind of right in line with what I was expecting. But what I was finding out is that it didn't do that every time, and it took playing around with the gear and playing around with the speeds in order to get it doing what I wanted to. So what was happening, I would run it, and the first Royal Guard was going to do his nuke and take the spiders down to half health, or a little bit more than half health. And then the second Royal Guard was going to come in and then kill everybody off that was on the board. And then what would happen with just 2 spiderlings up, the slowest Royal Guard was going to try to use his A3 instead, because it saw ability to do 4 hits, and it only had at that point 2 spiders alive, and it would use the A3 instead of A2. So the first obstacle or first hurdle that I had to overcome was, how do I get more than 2 spiders on the board at a time after each Royal Guard's turn? So the answer that I came up with was to adjust the speeds. I made Gurptuk slower than my Lydia, and what would happen is, I'll run it again here, she would come out and she would do her buff, the 8 spiders spawn in, she buffs up, and then I'll stop it right here, 10 are out here. So we've got the debuffs on all of them. It's kind of weird the way that Spider is bugged right now, because you're not actually seeing where they are on the screen, but they're all stacked up over here in the corner. So 8 out of these 10 spiders have the decreased defense and weaken, and that's important because we would like to kill some of them, but not all of them. So I'm going to kick it back on auto. We're going to pause it after the first Royal Guard goes. So you see, we killed some of them off, but then there's enough of them alive that 2 more of them spawned in, and we've got still enough out here so that this second Royal Guard is going to want to use this takedown. Now, right here is the problem that I started with. I had my strongest Royal Guard going first, And with all the gear that I had him on, Savage Set, like 280% crit damage, I loaded that one up, and he was killing every spiderling. What would happen is two more would spawn in, and then this Royal Guard wanted to use his A3 instead of A2. So what I had to do is I actually had to spread the gear out. I had to make the first one strong enough to kill at least one spiderling, but not strong enough to kill all of them. So then the next one comes, and then he sees two fresh spiderlings that spawned in, and two, however many of them were left over from the first round. And then he uses his A2 again. Spider's nearly dead. This A2 is definitely going to kill it, but if I didn't have these leftover old spiderlings and the two new ones that spawned in, he was going to use A3 instead. So this is how we want it to work. So once I had that team put together, I thought that's where I was going to leave it. I had a 16-second clear time using the 3 Royal Guards, which was originally what I planned. And I ran it for a couple days and farmed a lot of silver, and then I started watching the runs and seeing how often it failed with a resist. So if either the decreased defense or the weaken on Lydia's A2 would resist, then it would cause my run to fail. And that's going to happen on each debuff at least 3% of the time. There's no way you can get around it. You can stack as much accuracy as you want, and the highest your debuffs are ever going to apply is a 97%. So I didn't want to waste that energy when I was running these runs overnight or whatever. And I remembered that I had Ghostborn in my vault, and I've had him for 4 or 5 months, and I never really used him. I just booked him enough to get a 100% chance for the decreased defense on his A3. I didn't even care about that cooldown, and I just left him there. Well, with him, you don't have that problem. The most important part of this is that this debuff cannot be resisted once he gets ascended. So I subbed him in for Lydia, and I did a test run. And I kind of expected that it was going to work just like it did with her. He would throw the debuffs out, then Gurptuk would throw up the poisons, and then nuke, nuke, nuke. And what I ran into is exactly what you're seeing here. The second Royal Guard would kill all the spiders, and then 2 new ones would spawn in, and there weren't enough spiders that were left alive in order for that third Royal Guard to do his A2. He wanted to use his A3 instead. So sometimes it would work, it would cycle around, and I'd still be able to get a kill just like this, but other times the spiders will get their turns, and then this team, if it lasts more than 30 seconds, it's getting completely rocked, because these Royal Guards and the rest of the team are not set up to live past that nuke. So that put me into full problem solving mode, and I went into the Deadwood Jedi Discord, and I was talking to some people in there, and Bobo was telling me about the team that he runs, which is almost identical to this, except instead of the third nuker being a Royal Guard, he uses a Coldheart. So I brought in my Savage Coldheart. I had to take speed boots off of her and put her into attack boots because she was too fast to go ahead of the Royal Guards, and I needed her to go last. And you know, he was telling me about how his team works, and he showed me a video of it. And if the same situation happens where all of the spiderlings are dead, then 2 new ones will spawn in, and as long as there's only 2 spiderlings alive, then that's going to cause Coldheart to use her A3 for her Heartseeker. So I tried it myself on my account, and what happened is not what I was expecting. So debuffs go out, Gurptuk throws up the poisons, you get the first takedown, you get the second takedown, and right here all the spiderlings are dead except for the 2 that just spawned in. And when he showed me the video on his account, that made Coldheart use her Heartseeker, which is what we wanted her to do. But on my account, she didn't. She used her A2 instead for Art of Pain. And that would cause the run to fail because Spider immediately got a turn. The fight would have ended if she used her A3, but for some reason her AI wasn't smart enough to do that. And I couldn't really figure out what was causing that to happen. After I wasted a lot of energy trying to figure out what was going on, I finally discovered that for my particular cocktail of debuffs on the spider and spiderlings alive, the thing that was causing Coldheart not to use her A3 was that the spider didn't have a full enough turn meter. So I had to take my already very slow attack boots Coldheart, which was running at 142, and I slowed her down even more. So I took her down to 120 speed by changing a few of her other pieces. And what happened is that the spider had enough of turn meter by the time it came around to her turn that she would all of a sudden think that it was important enough to then use her Heartseeker instead and try to reduce the turn meter. So take down, and then this on the old run is where she used her A2, but now she is using her Heartseeker. And this ultimately is the team that I am currently running because it's 12 or 13 seconds, depending on whether I'm on my phone or my computer, and it works 100% of the time. And Coldheart will always use her A3 because the spider is over a certain threshold of turn meter. So my guess is that that's happening somewhere around the 70 or 75% mark, because when she was 142 speed, she would not do it, but when she's at 120 speed, she will. So over and over again, I can continue to run this, and it's going to run the exact same way every time because the spiderlings are going to be all dead when Coldheart takes her turn, and then she is going to use that A3 that we need her to. And that is what finally took me to 100% Spider 20 Nuke team in 13 seconds. I did just realize that I never showed the builds off for any of the champions that I used earlier in the video, so just real quick. Lydia, kind of just an all-around generalist. I have her built quick but not super fast with high accuracy for Doom Tower. And then Ghostborn, it's actually kind of a joke build. I don't have anything on him except for enough speed to go first. He doesn't need accuracy because it can't be resisted. Like, I don't really have to do anything with his build, so it doesn't take anything important on him except for 2 books in that A3. And then for Gurptuk, he is again level 50. I don't really have masteries on him. He is just set up for shield set. So the reason why I put him in shield set is I don't want the first couple ticks of his poison when the Royal Guards get their turn to take them below 100% HP. So that's actually kind of important if you're trying to get the extra 5% damage out of them. The masteries that they're using here, this Heart of Glory, this one will wear off if they take that first tick of poison. So just a little bit of a shield set on Gurptuk will keep that from happening. It's a little easier to do that than trying to put a divine set on each of the 3 of them. And then for this Savage one, this is my fast one, which is only running at 210 crit damage. And then my slower one is running at, what, 245? Then the Coldheart, like you saw earlier, this one, super slow, 265 crit damage. She does about 500,000-600,000 overkill damage on the spider, so she could be in a lot lower gear level. I just have her set up with that specific combination. So again, I'm using Flawless Execution on all of these instead of Helm Smasher. You can do whatever you would prefer, but I just like the consistency that Flawless Execution gives. So guys, that's it. I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe. This is, again, a brand new channel. Thank you so much for the support you've given me so far. And I will be back for the next video soon. Until then, thank you.